you may know, all the world supporting women with acupuncture on cruise ships. And after treating hundreds of amazing, beautiful women and hearing about different stories of insecurities or struggles, I just knew that I had to bring in my very good friend Tracy, who is an expert. She is a coach, and she has really coached me through the process of releasing some struggles while I was even at sea, because it was actually, we met before I even went to sea very quickly, and then I went, and we've been going through this process together. Now, Tracy and I have done more than talk about, share stories, but we've also done other work that has supported us, and not only in our business, the struggles, so they can start living their best life. So thank you so much, Tracy, for being here with us.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying it.
And hey, let's just get right to the point, because, you know, I know a lot about you. There's obviously some things that I don't know about you, but I want my community to know about you. So tell everyone, tell all my friends, like, about yourself, how this started, where it began, and how you arrived to where you are now.
Okay. Basically, this has been my whole life. I started lifting weights at the age of 12, but I always danced and did gymnastics and had this deep passion for the human form. I'm in love with the human body and always have been. And as a child, I was always very observant. I was always observing the people around me, my mom and the other women. And I always wondered, like, why some of the women were thriving and seemed really happy, and then other of the women seemed like to be really struggling and not happy and not live a joyful life. And I became really curious as to what those dynamics were. And so when I got in the gym at 12 years old, I grew up in a pretty strict religious household, and I wasn't able to express myself really at all much. So in the gym was the only place where I felt I had control of anything in my life and control over my own body. So at a young age, I was like, oh, okay, this is the only thing that I can do right now. And I've always been petite and small, so it gave me a strength that I didn't realize I had in my walking life. And when I was in the gym, I could be anybody I wanted to be. I could be the complete total badass that I wanted to be, that I couldn't be, you know, as a kid in my house or in school or whatever. I've always been kind of a rebel by nature, very free spirited, and it just wasn't accepted the way I grew up. I grew up in the Bible Belt and things. So that kind of kicked it off. And then it continued on. It was always the biggest love of my life, and it became my career. And I really am super passionate about helping women shift the things in their bodies. So the form it took on at that point was being a personal trainer and then owning multiple CrossFit gyms. And so after training hundreds of women and observing it then as an aware adult, because I started my own self-development work and things. And what I realized was, okay, we can control our bodies to a certain extent. And we can force it to do workouts. We can force it to do diets and things. But there was an element missing, because I would see women rebound. I would see women, do the yo-yo dieting and go back and forth every single year. There's this pattern. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And then in my own experience, as I was going through all this, I had 2 children back to back, and I ended up with a chronic illness. I had MRSA, and it almost killed me. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I feel like I can't control my body. I feel like everything's out of control. And I literally thought I was going to die. And it was in that time frame that everything really shifted for me. I really dove deeper into the self-development, and I realized some very, very big things, and that the industry and what we perpetuate inside the industry isn't actually the answer. So what I realized was that everything we perpetuate as the fitness industry and the health industry, it's really one big freaking myth. And that's why they're still rebounding and stuff, and especially in the women's community. So that really led me to doing my own work and really like busting up that self for myself, and then living that, and then now getting to deliver that to women and fucking free themselves from all this crap in the industry that we feel that we have to do to have the body we want or to feel good in ourselves or, whatever. So, yeah.
I'm so glad that you've come to this realization and that this is something that has been a part of your life, because I too feel that that's been my story as well. And I know that there's a lot of women out there who are either in the same situation or who have experienced that. I mean, I grew up in a very religious, family. We were very, going to church all the time, lived in the Bible Belt. When we were overseas, we also went to church. We're a very faith-based family. And so there were some rules that, that were just a part of our family. And if it's this way and this way only. And what's really cool too, and that when I found this out about you, that you were a fitness competitor, I was like, oh, I was a fitness competitor too. And I totally know you mean about the diets and not eating differently and not really enjoying life and I didn't love my body for what it was, because I was constantly comparing myself to other people, other looks, wondering, am I pretty enough? Am I good enough? And it just got to me in my head. And so when you were talking about the biggest fitness myths, I just knew off the bat, she is hit something like right on the nail. So, yeah. Right?
Yeah. So the biggest fitness myth, the biggest health wellness myth is that I call it the point A to point B myth. So you're at point A, you're not happy with whatever's going on in your body, with yourself, whatever. And we look to the industry for these answers to get us to a point B. And they tell us that at point B, we'll be happy and we'll love ourselves. And it's bullshit. Like, it's total bullshit. So if people saw the picture of me as a figure competitor, it looks like everything's all put together, right? That was the unhappiest I ever was in my life. The unhappiest. And it looked good on the outside. It looked like it was, super fit, super healthy, whatever. No, I was completely depleted. I was exhausted. I was trying to prove myself in a certain way, and that my value and my worth came from how fit I could be, right? And I had those own voids in my life for self-worth and things like that. And it was a control issue. And so I poured all of this into my body, and it was my whole life. And I was miserable. And so when I got my chronic illness, it really knocked me on my ass, and I had to do something different. I had to really get to the bottom of the whole thing. But that industry myth, most women go through this cycle every year. So I start at December, not January, but like December rolls around and women start thinking about their health and body goals for the next year, right? And they sit down and they write out or decide they're going to do this specific thing. And usually that decision is made off of what the biggest fads in the industry are at the moment. Whether it's, and I love CrossFit, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with nutrition programs and workout programs. Okay. There's nothing wrong with them. The thing is if they're not in alignment with you, it's never going to work. But what we usually do is make decisions not based out of our own heart and what we want for ourselves, our desires, and what's in alignment with us, who we truly are. We make those decisions based off what the fitness influencers tell us, the best butt exercises, what the hell ever, the doctor panels on TV, whoever the perceived experts are at the time. And we outsource the most important decisions, our body decisions, to other people.
Wait a minute. Let's like rewind that. You said we outsource?
We outsource our decision-making power for ourselves, for our bodies, to other people.
So we're giving other people the power, and we're not taking that power that we deserve.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we end up doing things that really aren't a match for who we are energetically. It never lasts because we don't want to fucking do it. So we outsource all this power, And then we wonder why we still don't feel good and why we can't get to where we want to be and we're still not happy. Or they'll push through and they'll get to that point B. They may look the part, but they're still miserable. So they make those goals, they set stuff they really don't want to do, force themselves through it. We all know that by March in the gym, everything's fading back out. You know, people are quitting, they've given up on themselves, they really don't want to do what it takes at that point because they haven't truly gotten to the root of the problem. May rolls around and it's like, oh my God, I've got 30 days to get in a bikini. And they walk in and they're like, okay, I got to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Look, that's a lot of work. It can be done, but it's not very healthy. And, you know, and so then they're like, okay, I want to do it anyway. So they start that process and then they're like, screw it. You know, it's too hard. I don't want to do this. Then they spend the summer months beating themselves up, you know, doing whatever their summer activities are. I know in my area, a lot of people go lake, a lot of drinking, a lot of eating, which is fine, but they spend those months beating themselves up. Then it comes to school time, especially if you have kids and the holidays again, and they're like, screw it, I'll start in December. And so we run this pattern year after year as women, and we wonder why we yo-yo and rebound and nothing ever sticks. How is it going to stick with that mindset and that cycle that's running? It can't. It absolutely can't. It doesn't matter what diet you do or workout plan you do. If you don't get to the root of the issue, none of that shit sticks. And it's just a bunch of struggle and frustration. It just creates more stress in our lives. And what woman needs more stress, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. Thank you. No, thank you. So to summarize that, what is the biggest myth?
That from point A, that you'll be happy with yourself and your body once you get to some point B, whatever that is for somebody, whether it's, you know, lose weight or run better or whatever. External things cannot make us happy. It's an internal job.
So you're saying that now that we've busted this myth, you're saying that we don't have to work out or eat well, and is that what you're saying? I mean,
so no. The thing is, once you realize that happiness is an internal thing, and you take care of the foundational work inside, which is what we do in the Bold Body Freedom experience, the decisions you make for yourself and your body from your own intuition and alignment, not from people out here or things out here, you're going to choose exactly what your body needs intuitively. You're going to choose the movement that you want to do. You're going to choose the movement that feels like celebration versus punishment. You're going to choose the foods that fuel your body or that you feel the best on. And you'll be able to eliminate guilt and shame when it comes to eating and things like that. Your self-worth is going to be different. So you're going to put different things in your body. But no, you don't have to do the whole dieting thing and be strict and all that shit. Like, it just, the way I do it now, everything's intuitive. It's intuitive movement, intuitive eating. I do whatever the hell I want because I know I'm in full alignment with my heart and my desires. And it's so much easier and simpler, and it's divine. I mean, it's a true connection to myself and my body. We are working as a very powerful partnership for all my desires and goals in life. So we work together now instead of against each other.
I get that.
No more fighting ourselves.
I get that. And I feel like that's how I have been able to maintain my weight. I mean, I remember a specific time in my life when I was in medical school, left medical school, was very stressed out, and all of a sudden I didn't feel comfortable in my own clothes. Mm-hmm. And I realized it was the stress, it was the feelings and the emotions that I was inflicting on myself and the belief systems that I had. And it wasn't until actually I decided that I needed to change that. And I didn't really know the method, but now that you're speaking of it, I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is a real thing. Yeah. So I have my own ideas and opinions and thoughts and studies based on working out and dieting, but how do you feel and see working out and dieting?
Like I said, it's just intuitive. Like, if once you do the foundational work, that inner work, and you decide, okay, I do want to do these exercises for the booty or whatever, go do them because you're going to love doing it. But if you don't, if you don't get clarity on who you are, what your desires are for yourself and your life, you can't make those decisions. So most of us are trying to shift our bodies with a really fucked up mindset about there's not enough self-love, self-worth, and things to make those decisions. It's a punishment. The movement, the eating, it becomes another way that we punish ourselves instead of, okay, this is my inner work. I'm doing the mindset. I'm healing my heart. I'm healing myself. And now my decisions for my body and, through movement and nutrition are powerful, and they're in alignment with me, and I'm going to be exactly everything I want to be. And I don't have to do all of these things out here to feel that way. I cultivate that inside. And that is exactly what I teach inside the Bold Body Freedom experience, is cultivating that inner power and then taking that decision making power back for yourself, and you making the decisions you need to make for your body.
So a lot of times we feel guilty and shameful of the things that we do or how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
And my next question is, how does a woman deal with this? Because I know that there are a lot of women who deal with this, especially when I was, at sea seeing so many women. And what happens to our body when we were holding back and when we were holding on to this guilt and shame?
Yeah, so guilt and shame, and I'm going to throw fear in there too, because it's kind of all around the same energetic wavelengths. Guilt and shame and fear are the lowest vibrating, lowest energetic emotions we can feel. And I know a lot of women, myself included, as I was growing up, we walked around in guilt and shame all the time. And if you guys think back to like the first time you ever felt guilty or shameful for your body and fear that you weren't going to be accepted, it'll go way, way, way back. I remember the very first time I was 5 years old, and like I said, I'm very free spirited. I'm not modest. I love to run around naked. I did as a kid too. And I was 5 and I was in my underwear and I was just hanging out in the house with the family watching TV before bed. And I remember my dad looking at my mom and going, "She needs to have a shirt on." And I was like, "Why do I need to have a shirt on?" I didn't understand. My dad didn't have a shirt on. My brother didn't have a shirt on. Like, I'm 5. You don't have boobs yet, And I just remember in that moment feeling so shameful, and I didn't even know why. And then because I couldn't process that and it wasn't explained to me, it begins compounding. Then you get in school and then you start getting made fun of, and you go through all these phases of womanhood. You go through these awkward periods. You go through, puberty, and you're growing your boobs and your butt, and you got to get braces, and and then when you get older, you get into your 20s and that weird phase. And then when I became a wife and a mother, there was a whole nother layer of guilt and shame there, where now society perceives wives and mothers to act, look, and be a certain way. And that wasn't me. Just because we have children or get married, our true selves inside of us don't change. Like, I'm still that crazy, wild, free-spirited warrior woman. And just because I got married and had kids didn't mean that shifted. And all of a sudden I need to be a different person because I'm a mother. And so you compound all of that over the years, and it gets locked up in the body if you don't have a strategy, a technique, and tools to move it. And it creates emotional trauma. We hold it throughout our body in various places, and you know this very well as an Eastern medicine practitioner. And Western medicine doesn't deal with this. So it gets locked in there. And unless we have a way to be aware of it, process it, and release it, we hold it in our bodies. And that can manifest in different ways. It can be weight gain. It can be chronic illness. It can be, all the emotional ranges of what we label depression, ADD, ADHD, all that stuff. All of those labels are honestly locked up shit in our bodies. And so if we take on the inner work of handling those emotional traumas and processing them, and that's what the biggest chunk, that's that mindset I was talking about. That's the biggest chunk of what we do in Bold Body Freedom Experience is dive in there, do the inner work. And what it does is it frees up space in your body. And this is where the energy gets affected. Most women are walking around, they're tired, they're exhausted, they say they have no energy. That's like one of the number one things women come to me for. Gosh, I really need more energy to get through my day. We need that energy because all of our energy is going to that stuff that's locked up in there, all that emotional shit we have locked up going on in our head and going on in our bodies. And so once we address it, we free up space and we free up massive loads of energy.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. You know, Tracy, that is exactly what the practice of Chinese medicine has been teaching people for thousands of years. But I have to chime in here and say that, you know, acupuncture is like the kindergarten, and we achieve to get to the space of learning Qigong, which is an energetic healing, which is exactly what Bold Body Freedom is. It's about changing the mindset, harnessing the energy, and releasing the energy that does not serve us, that is causing things like stagnation and masses and developments that become physical. So what you're talking about is, in fact, for sure, science can't prove it, but we know as human beings that if we feel it, it exists and it can be moved because it was created by some thought or some feeling. And you just eloquently put it in words that everybody can understand. So you have so much energy behind this, so much power behind it, and I love it, and it's so contagious. So my question for you is, what inspires you, and where does this passion come from, other than the story that you shared with us when you were a kid and, you know, being, you know, refrained or held back from, you know, living your authentic self when you were 5?
Yeah. The passion comes from knowing it can be different. Like at this point in my life, I feel younger than I did in elementary school. I have more energy and more vibrancy. No matter what is going on around me, I maintain my underlying joy and happiness. And there's no more struggle and fighting. So when I think about that, I can't imagine another woman in this day and time going through those issues when we know this and when it can be different and when it can shift. And so it inspires me that there's so many women out here who have so much power, and that we get to unlock that and unlock that deep, profound love to have a powerful relationship with themselves and their bodies. And the next catalyst for me was having my daughter, having my first child. Because what I realized, this emotional trauma and shit we hold in our bodies, it passes down through the generations. And I was not going to pass down this shit to my daughter. Not doing it, not having it. And so my mission, my passion, my vision became helping transcend this and shift this so we quit passing this down. It's in the collective and it's time it freaking dies. Like, it's over. The old game, it's done. The game is up. It's over. And we're totally flipping the script. And there's no need for this to pass down to the future generations anymore. I don't want to see my daughter struggling with guilt and shame and dealing with all those things the previous generations dealt with and the stuff I dealt with. But the only way to shift it is not to try to change our children or the people before us. The only way to shift it is to shift it in ourselves. And it's that example that we live by and who we are in our full power that shifts everything around us. It's us. It's not them. It's not projecting it out here. We have to do the work. And then as we're doing it, it gives other people permission, and it gives them, oh my gosh, okay, if she has the strength to do this and she's supported and I'm supported, I can do it too. And I also want a better life and a better open experience for our children, and not just the girls, but the boys too. Think about how powerful these girls are going to be they're not going to take as much shit from guys in school and stuff like that. They're not going to let themselves be undervalued. You know, that was one of my patterns for a long time as well with men. And I know it just, you have to take care of this, and all of that sorts itself out. The biggest battle we're ever going to face is in ourselves.
Totally agree, 110%. And you know what inspires me the most about this course is that we literally release everything that is holding us back, and we are able to just realize that it's not about doing. You know, it's about getting rid of all the stuff that doesn't serve us and really looking inside of us and deciding what is it that I want and how do I get there. So it's a continuous type of process. And then you teach us these tools, right? And then there's workbooks and there's all these other things in the course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
These tools it frees us from the pressure of what people say, what people think, what I think I need to do in order to raise a good child or have a strong family or to help my husband or whatever it is. I mean, I don't have any of these things, but I can imagine there are women who are coming with this, like, didn't even know because they've been living in this like black hole thinking that, oh my gosh, there's so much pressure. Yeah. And so I can't wait to do this course myself. And I know that you are giving us a very special treatment because right now the course is closed and no way for anybody to possibly be enrolled right now. But I would love for the people who have been listening, who are here watching the replay, know how to get it.
Absolutely. So because it's you, my lovely dear Antonika, I have opened up a separate space just for you guys who have worked with Antonika, are friends with her, in her circle. And I've also given you the pre-launch price, which is $600 off what it normally costs. So I love Antonika very much. And I really wanted you guys to be able to come in. There's payment plans available. There's 6 modules where we go through all this stuff and 2 extra weeks of support, private Facebook group, journal prompts, workbooks, and then a lot of experiential stuff. So we're coming out of the information age, and the only way to truly make a shift is to have the experience and actually put ourselves into that experience. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to focus on, these emotional traumas that have been held in the body, releasing those, determining our desires, and really moving forward with those with power and allowing everything to align itself up. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to leave this special pricing open for you guys until Sunday at midnight, and then it comes down. So whoever if this feels good to you, and you're going to know, you're going to know in your heart, okay, if you're like, yes, okay, I feel all of this, then you're ready. So Antonika's got the link. She'll share it, and you have until Sunday at midnight to enroll. And then we'll have our own private group for just Antonika's folks. And of course, you'll have me the whole time. We're going to do all the calls live. They will be recorded in case you can't make the call, but I highly encourage you to do the live calls because of the experiential factor, but they will be recorded. I already have bonuses in there. I think there's 4 different videos of bonuses in there with journal prompts as well for some pre-work. And we are going to take those 8 weeks and shift everything. And I continue to develop all the time. So you're going to have lifetime updates and lifetime access from here on out. And I will continually add as I continue my journey and have more and more awarenesses and insights and grow it myself. I will continue to add to the program, and you guys will continue to expand as well. So Antonika's got that link, and she'll put it up here and send it to you guys. And so Sunday at midnight.
Wow, Tracy, I'm just so grateful and so thankful for the work that you do in this world. And I am so grateful for you extending that offer, that special offer to us. I have to tell you, ladies, I have never really worked with a coach until I worked with Tracy. And then I worked with a few other coaches to help build my business. And I can tell you that working with somebody who really cares about my passion, my mission, it makes a difference. And I wouldn't be where I am today, knowing that I still have struggle and I still have challenges, but that I'm supported not only by people like Tracy, but I also have the tools that I need to use in order to access that inner power so that way I can live my life more authentically. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Tracy. And ladies, I love that you are here. Please share this out with all of your friends, your families, whoever needs to see this. I'm going to add that link into the post of this broadcast so you can have easy access to it. And if you have any questions or comments that you would like to leave Tracy, you can leave that here in the comments. We are both very accessible. And, as an Eastern medicine practitioner, all of this is in alignment with Chinese medicine. We know that the vibration of women empowerment is very special vibration, and we want to make sure that you are supported in every aspect of your life so you can achieve those life goals and your mission here on this earth. So thank you so much again, Tracy, for being here. Thank you, ladies.
Absolutely.
And we will see you again for sure next time, Tracy and everyone else here who joined us. Thanks.
Thanks.